The story I'm going to start with today is about Epossumondias, and it is an old folk tale, and it has been changed throughout the years, and now we have it changed again so that it's partly human being and partly animal. And so this is the story about Epossumondias. Epossumondias was his mama's and his auntie's sweet little patootie. They just loved him to death. Isn't he cute? And Epossumondias used to go and see his auntie almost every day, and she nearly always gave him something to take home with him. And one day she gave him a piece of rich gold cake. And Epossumondias took it in his hand, scrunched his hand up tight, and went along home. And on his way home, he passed an alligator. An alligator asked, "What you got, Epossumondias?" "Cake," he replied. Don't look much like cake to me," said the alligator. And when Epossumondias got home, his mama looked at that fistful of crumbs and said, "Epossumondias, what do you have in your hand?" "Cake, Mama. Auntie gave it to me." "Oh, Epossumondias, you don't have the sense you were born with. That's no way to carry cake. The way to carry cake is to put the cake on your head and put your hat on your head and come along home. Now, do you hear me, Epossumondias?" "Yes, Mama." By and by, on another day, when Epossumondias was visiting his auntie, this time she gave him a pound of freshly churned butter to take home with him. And Epossumondias put it on his head and put his hat on his head and went along home. And on his way home, he passed Raccoon. And Raccoon asked, "What you got, Epossumondias?" "Butter," he replied. Don't look much like butter to me," said Raccoon. And when Epossumondias got home, his mama looked at him and said, "Epossumondias, what do you have in that hat?" "Butter, Mama. Auntie gave it to me." "Oh, Epossumondias, you don't have the sense you were born with. That's no way to carry butter. The way to carry butter is to wrap it up in some leaves and carry it down to the brook, and you cool it in the water, and you cool it in the water, and you cool it in the water, and then you take it up carefully in your hands and come along home. Do you hear me, Epossumondias?" "Yes, Mama." By and by, on another day, when Epossumondias was visiting his auntie, this time she gave him a sweet little puppy dog to take home with him. So Epossumondias wrapped it up in some leaves, and he carried it down to the brook, and he cooled it in the water, and he cooled it in the water, and he cooled it in the water, and then he took it up carefully in his hands and went along home. And on his way home, he met Nutria. And Nutria asked, "What you got there, Epossumondias?" "A puppy," he replied. Don't look much like a puppy to me," he said. Well, when Epossumondias got home, his mama looked at that poor, bedraggled puppy, and she said, "Epossumondias, what do you have in your hand?" "A puppy, Mama. Auntie gave it to me." "Oh, Epossumondias, Epossumondias, you don't have the sense you were born with. That's no way to carry a puppy. The way to carry a puppy is to put the puppy on the ground and tie a piece of string around the puppy's neck and and then you take a hold of the string and you come along home. Now, do you hear me, Epossumondias?" "Yes, Mama." Well, by and by, on another day, when Epossumondias was visiting his auntie, this time she gave him a freshly baked loaf of bread to take home with him. And Epossumondias put the bread on the ground and tied a piece of string around it and took the other end of the string, and he went along home. And on his way home, he met Armadillo. And Armadillo asked, "What you got, Epossumondias?" "Bread," he said. That don't look much like bread to me," said Armadillo. When Epossumondias got home, his mommy looked at the thing on the end of the string, and she said, "Epossumondias, what do you have on the end of that string?" "Bread, Mama. Auntie gave it to me." "Oh, Epossumondias, Epossumondias, you don't have the sense you were born with. You never did have the sense you were born with, and you never will have the sense you were born with. Now, I'm not telling you any more ways of bringing truck home, and I don't want you to see your auntie either, and I'll go see her myself." And Epossumondias' mama got her basket, but before she left, she said, "Now, Epossumondias, do you see those 6 pies a-cooling there on the porch?" "Yes, Mama." "Well, Epossumondias, you be careful about stepping on those pies." And Mama went off to see Auntie. And then Epossumondias was careful about stepping on those pies. He stepped right in the middle of every one. And this is an old story from many, many countries, always changed a little bit, about Epossumondias.